Every single day, more than 6 billion people reach for the same object. Before they speak, before they think, before they even stand up. Now imagine this object. Never existed. Not broken, not banned, not taken away. Simply, never invented. The smartphone is not just a device. It is the remote control of modern civilization. It decides how we communicate, how we work, how we fall in love, or we fight, and how we remember the world. So today, we ask a question that sounds simple, but changes everything. What if the smartphone was never invented? Without smartphones, life slows down instantly. Imagine a world where messages are not instant. News is not constant. Reactions are not immediate. There is no vibration in your pocket demanding attention. No screen begging to be touched. Information still exists, of course, but it must be actively searched for, not passively absorbed. The world still moves forward, but it does so without rushing you every single second. Think about it. The constant pressure to be available, to respond right away, would vanish. You'd have time to think before you react, to experience a moment without an algorithm telling you what to experience next. Life would have a different rhythm, a slower, more deliberate beat. Communication would still exist, but it would feel completely different. There would be no typing while walking, no conversations split between the person in front of you and the screen in your hand. When people talk, they are fully there, or they are not there at all. Silence would return to its original meaning. Not an awkward pause to be filled by scrolling, but a space for thought, for observation. Waiting would regain its power, a period of quiet anticipation rather than frantic distraction. Connection would become intentional, not automatic. You'd have to plan to meet, to call, to write. Every interaction would carry more weight because it would require more effort. Friendships wouldn't be maintained by passive likes, but by actively present engagement. Social media would probably still exist, but it would be confined to computers. This single limitation would change human behavior completely. There would be no endless scrolling in bed, no compulsively recording every moment of your day for an audience. The algorithm wouldn't follow you everywhere you go, learning your habits to sell you things. Attention would no longer be a currency, monetized by the second. Fame would grow slowly, organically, or not at all. Life would stop being an endless stream of content, and moments would stop being performances. You would live your life for yourself, not for a digital gallery. The pressure to present a perfect, curated version of your existence would lift. Your memories would belong to you, not to a platform. The smartphone erased the border between work and life. Without it, that border would return, clear and defined. Emails would wait until you were at your desk. Messages would be answered later. The culture of manufactured urgency would fade, replaced by genuine priorities. Productivity might actually increase during work hours because you would be focused, but your availability would disappear the moment you clocked out. You would work when you are at work, and when you leave, work would let go of you. The concept of burnout from being perpetually on might become a relic of a bygone era. Your free time would truly be free. Smartphones, decentralized power, for better and for worse. Without them, we would see fewer viral movements. There would be less instant coordination for protests and social change. Political pressure would build much more slowly. On one hand, governments and traditional media would regain significant control over public narratives, but on the other hand, chaos and misinformation would spread slower too. Truth would no longer travel at the speed of outrage. It would travel at the speed of proof. Public discourse might become less reactive, the world would be less volatile, but perhaps also less responsive to the will of the people. It's a trade-off between speed and stability. Entire industries we now take for granted would simply vanish. There would be no app economy, no influencer marketing, no mobile advertising shaping our desires. The on-demand culture food rides, entertainment at the tap of a button would never have been born. Trillions of dollars of economic value would never be created, but that wealth would also never be concentrated in the hands of a few tech giants. Technology would still evolve. Of course, we'd have powerful laptops, faster internet, incredible scientific tools. They just wouldn't live inside your pocket, connected to you at all times. The economy would be different. Perhaps less convenient, but maybe more equitable. But the deepest change of all would be inside the human mind. Without smartphones, boredom would return. And boredom is the mother of creativity. Focus would rebuild itself, strengthened by the absence of constant interruption. Memory would become a muscle we actually use. People would remember phone numbers. They'd remember directions. They'd get lost more often, and in doing so, discover new things. We would experience life without the instinct to document it. The present moment would stop competing for our attention against 1,000 digital ghosts. It would simply exist. We would look up at the world more than we look down at a screen. We would be observers, participants, not just recorders. A world without smartphones would not be perfect. Far from Italiano. It would be less efficient, less connected in a global sense, and far less immediate. But it would also be calmer, deeper, and perhaps more human. The smartphone didn't just change the world. It changed how we experience the fundamental state of being alive. So maybe the real question isn't, what if the smartphone was never invented? Maybe the real question is, can we still choose when to put it down? Thanks for watching. If this made you think, consider subscribing for more questions that change everything.